What is going on, everyone? We are back with another review, and this time we are reviewing Season 1, Episode 30 of The Twilight Zone, and the episode is called A Stop at Willoughby. So, this was directed by Robert Parrish, written by Rod Serling. It was composed by Nathan Scott. The episode released May 6th, 1960. So, per the norm, every now and again, a Rod Serling written story ends up being something I actually enjoy. Now, I again don't always look forward to Rod Serling stories, but this time I think he did a pretty good one here. So we get the main guy who goes into a meeting and is waiting for the meeting. They are waiting for somebody he brought on to be a newer guy for the TV station that they work for, trying to get an account to do things. And he doesn't end up showing, and the guy's boss starts to kind of go off on him and tells him, like, this is an older man's game, you gotta push, push, push. And that's the big thing. You hear that constantly throughout this episode, is this man being like, push, 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 push. And he eventually loses his shit and says, you know what, fat man, I'm done. And he walks away, goes to his office. That night on the train ride home, he has a dream about this place called Willoughby, where the train stops. He gets off, or he looks outside the train on Willoughby, and he sees what looks like a horse and carriage cab that he could take. There's a grandstand where people are playing their instrument inside the grandstand. There's people walking around with their umbrellas, kids going fishing, so forth and so on. Place looks gorgeous. He asks the conductor on the train, and the conductor's from like, yeah, this is Willoughby. It's bright and sunny here. It's summer, even though it's the middle of winter in his world. And he wakes up before he can get off the train, goes home, and his wife confronts him about all of the stuff that had happened at work, because somebody that she's friends with is married to a guy that was in the room when he kind of lost his shit. She was not too pleased. Almost hints as if she regrets marrying him. He tries to explain that he's not the type of person that wants to compete in life. He just wants to live in a small, quaint town away from the hustle bustle of big city living, and realizes that for some reason he marries somebody that basically has expensive taste, right? She says she probably made a mistake marrying him, and she goes upstairs to go to bed. We then get a scene from the next day where he's on his way home, and he again goes to sleep, ends up in Willoughby, sees the same thing, and each time they stop, it's a different song that the grandstand is playing. And he looks around, and he gets up, and just as he's about to get off the train, he wakes up again. And he says, next time, I'll get off at Willoughby. Next day at work, he's sitting there at work, and he's answering calls. He's got his boss on the phone. His boss is like, you gotta push, push, push. You gotta, this is what we need for the TV station. We gotta push, push, push. And he's like, yes, sir, I get it. I know, sir. Well, okay. And he hangs up the phone. And then somebody calls to ask about ratings on something. Somebody else calls from the other phone. And he's got both conversations going at once. He asks for his receptionist to come in to ask her a question. She starts talking about so-and-so wants to see you. So he's got her saying, so-and-so wants to see you, so-and-so wants to see you. He's got two people on the phones constantly talking. He finally just hangs up the phones, walks in the bathroom, stares in the mirror. He sees his boss in the mirror, and his boss is like, push, push, push. And he loses his shit. He smashes the mirror, and then he calls his wife, and he's like, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm on my way home. Please be there when I get there. I need help. Like, we need to figure something out. I cannot do this anymore. And she hangs up on him. So he gets on the train. He draws the shade down, goes back to sleep, sees that he's in Willoughby, and as he's sitting there, he opens up the shades, looks outside, gets up, looks at his briefcase, puts it in the seat, walks off with the conductor, walks off, and he sees the kids there. He's like, hey, tomorrow I might go, fishing with you. And they're like, that'd be great, Mr. Williams, I think is what his name was. So he goes over, and other people greet him like, hey, nice to see you, Mr. Williams, so forth and so on. And then you see the guy swinging his pocket watch back and forth, and then all of a sudden it transfers to the real world where a guy's waving his light, and they pan back, and it turns out that Mr. Williams jumped off the train mid-ride, apparently died on impact. Which is funny because I had said earlier that Willoughby is probably kind of like a heaven-like place. I was right. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the way it ends. You'd find out that the company that comes to pick him up inside the hearse or ambulance, I guess, or whatever, is called Willoughby, which is funny. And yeah, that's the end. So basically it looks like he committed a self-unaliving ceremony on purpose, even though he was dreaming. But people are going to think it's on purpose because of everything going on in life. Again, I really ended up enjoying the episode. I didn't think it was going to be that great, considering it's a Rod Serling written story. I tend to struggle with Rod Serling stories. But yeah, it ended up being pretty good. So glad we got to sit here and watch it. Again, be sure to go check it out if you have not. Yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Love you. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.